With 4th of July and summer here, and Halloween approaching, I decided what better way to celebrate my freedom than an all-American slasher. I know what you did last summer. I can't believe it's taken me this long to do this one. In fact, what are you waiting for? Huh? What are you waiting for? What up, guys? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorn. With the Halloween season just creeping around the corner, I'm getting this urge to watch all these horror films. Then I put the pieces together that I Know What You Did Last Summer took place at 4th of July. I was like, we're doing that one. To me, this was a great representation of an awesome slasher where horror was pretty much dead. In fact, this came out right after Scream. It's been written by the same guy, Kevin Williamson. At least the screenplay was. It's actually based on a novel from 1973 called I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it's essentially the same thing you see in the movie about Julie James. Her and her friends are graduating, and the night of the big party, they accidentally kill somebody and they try to bury him, and it comes back to haunt them. But Kevin Williamson did a great job of updating that story and bringing it to more of a modern time. At least that year 2000, 2005 teenager we saw in all horror films. It pretty much started with Scream in this one. And I truly do associate these two movies with bringing horror back to life. There was a resurgence in horror right when Scream came out and this one came out because people sort of forgot that they liked horror movies. The 80s had beaten slashers to death and every other kind of horror movie to death, which I loved. But for most people, they just started to get burnt out on horror films, which I can understand. There was a ton coming out. So in the 90s, they just sifted away. And you did have some horror films here and there, but a lot of times they were horror films candy-coated in something else, like Silence of the Lambs. But as far as the slashers were concerned, we were very rarely getting those. And we still got some here and there, but they weren't being made with a lot of money and they weren't being taken seriously by studios. Well, Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer changed that. And starring the hot teen cast at the time, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Ryan Phillippe. All those guys were beautiful and perfect for a horror slasher. But the beauty about these four is they actually could act, and you believed them on screen. You actually liked their characters. When I watched this movie, especially when it came out, I felt like it was just this horror movie that had been waiting to pop and get out there. Because there's so many horror elements in this movie that are pretty much homages to the entire genre in general. The campfire stories, it's a whodunit, there's suspense left and right, it's got some twists and turns, the kills are great, plenty of misdirection, and the gore is pretty damn good too. And that's one of the things I think that makes the movie even better. It's not over the top gore, it's just right gore that's like, damn, I think I believe that. But I love that it's in this northeastern fishing town. It's real small. It's got a very eerie, creepy feel to it. Kind of like The Fog, the original one, not the Tom Welling one. The movie, just like all great horror films, has a solid opening scene. You see these teenagers, you get to know them real quick. They're celebrating their graduation. They're all talking about what they're going to do with their futures. One of them's going to be a football jock. One of them's going to be a model actress. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s characters, Julie and Ray, they're just super in love. But it does a great job at depicting all their characters, the situation they're in, why they're partying. I love it when they're sitting down by the beach, great eerie setting, and they're telling all the stories by the campfire. And you know, it's like that urban legends, that folklore. They even use the term urban legends.
It's an urban legend, American folklore.
Then like the same year or a year later, we got another slasher teen horror movie called Urban Legends. So like I said, this one and Scream just really relaunched horror films. But you got old Johnny Galecki in there, you know, Leonard from Big Bang, or Roseanne. And he's just one of many characters that are thrown in there to sort of give you some red herrings occasionally. But you know the premise. They're partying that night and they end up hitting that guy in the middle of the road on accident. And they decide, you know what, we still got our futures ahead of us, let's bury him, nobody will ever know. I really like the way they display that scene because I do feel like that's the way teenagers will behave in that situation, to be freaking out. One of them would be like, no, we gotta go to the cops. One would be like, we don't have time for your shit. I don't know, I just believed it. I like that Julie, who was just 5 minutes ago in love with Ray, now is all disgusted by the thought of him even entertaining them burying this guy. I love the whole just dynamic switch immediately. Their lives just are changed. And to me, that alone, without any killer involved or anything, is scary. Then cut to a year later, they're just all in their different places than they all expected to be. No sports star quarterback, no model actress. Julie and Ray are broken up. Yeah, in fact, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is stuck working for her sister, played by the hot Veronica Vaughn. Or Bridget Wilson's actually her name. Barry's living with his mom. Ray's become some sort of lowly fisherman. And Julie's off at college, but man, she looks like shit. She's like super pale and rugged.
What?
She even gets called up by her mom and Barry. And man, Barry's a dick.
You two look like shit run over twice.
You're a prick.
I gotta say, that's a hilarious line. Just like any true great slasher, they pull you this way, they pull you this way, they keep on throwing all these things out there to misdirect you. And I like the killer in this movie too. It's this guy in a fisherman's outfit with a hook for a hand. And the hook's legit too, because they all live in this fishing town where people are always hooking fish up. Oh, speaking of though, one of the great kills is when Johnny Galecki gets hooked in the net. But right before that, Barry comes over there to tough guy him a little bit because he thinks that he's messing with him. Because Johnny Galecki's character actually drove by him that night that it all happened a year ago. Maybe this guy knows something. All these things start happening to them to make them think that someone knows. Anyways, when Barry goes and sees Johnny Galecki at the fish house, oh, it's so funny. Just the way Johnny Galecki is. Don't test me, motherfucker!
Don't you test me, motherfucker! I'll call the cops on your college quarterback ass!
I wonder how many times they did that scene. Your college quarterback ass. We also get a nice little cameo by Anne Heche there. Hey! Another red herring to kind of throw us off. In fact, at one point you're thinking, well, is she the killer? Just because she's acting all weird. And a great slasher movie that's more than just about kills, that's memorable, does these things that make you remember it, like figuring it out the whole time, turning it into a mystery. That was what was so great about Scream. You were trying to figure out who was doing this shit. Not only is this movie a great slasher and a part of the whole horror resurgence, but it's got a lot of like actual cinematic, memorable scenes in it that you probably have even seen these scenes in advertisements or trailers, even if you haven't seen this movie. Like when she's waking up and her hair's all butchered and she's looking in the mirror and there's lipstick all over it. Classic scene. Barry getting attacked in the rafters by the killer with the spotlights kind of on him and off of him while he's watching that beauty pageant. And that one girl is hilarious singing that song.
Baby, look at me and tell me what you think.
I remember watching this when he got killed though, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's character's watching and she's like yelling, Barry! Barry! Like they had to have gone back in and put that in audio. I don't know, whoever thought that sounded good is distracting to me. And probably the most famous scene is when she finds Johnny Galecki in the back of her trunk with all those crabs in there.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? Her screaming like that and spinning around has been parodied 1,000 times.
I'm gonna jump!
He's just out there watching us and waiting for us. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
What am I waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
You!
The movie's not just based on who done it, them trying to figure out what's going on, and some kills here and there. It actually does have some scares as well, especially like the one when they're in the department store. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in there, and the killer's hiding by all these like mannequin dolls covered up by sheets. You've seen that 1,000 times in horror films, but the way they do it in this one and the way it was actually filmed, I feel like they sped up the film just a little bit and it just jumps out. That definitely scared the shit out of me in the theater. And finally, what really works about this movie is the end and the payoff and the little bit of a twist it is there, because sometimes in movies when they try to twist it too much and make it like, oh my God, it was the mother's brother's sister, it just ruins the entire movie. This one, it's the guy they hit. I love that. I like the fact that it is this guy who's like, you guys tried to kill me and I'm pissed. To me, that works. I mean, who knows if the guy got like brain damage or something, was just thinking irrationally now, but he was still alive. And of course, we get a showdown with him at the end on this boat. Julie finds all of her dead friends, which is actually pretty good, a little creepy. And to give you one more little just like homage to tell the audience, hey, this movie's made by horror films and we want these movies to come back. They give you that little Friday the 13th ending, because the killer's hook hand gets raised up into this pulley system, chopped off, he gets flung around upside down, but then when they pull up the net, they find his hook hand still in there. And it just, the music and everything sounds just like Friday the 13th to me.
Well, don't worry. The body will turn up. They usually do.
All in all, I think this movie is awesome. I think it's a slasher that most of the time people kind of consider maybe a cheesy one and forget that it's actually damn good. I might even like it a little better than Scream. Just saying. I like the darkness of it better. I give this one an A-. Only reason it's not an A+, because there are some cheesy moments here and there. There's some lines here and there that you're kind of like, nobody would talk like that. Overall, I love this movie. It's a phenomenal horror film. I watch it every year. Now I'm gonna watch it every 4th of July. Well guys, that's it for this video. Click on that like button if you enjoyed it. Make sure you start tuning in my daily episodes Monday through Friday of BrassReel Tonight. Nothing but just movie chatter about news. That's it. Sometimes I'll be talking to some guests, but only movie news talk. That's it. Look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh